back to my channel. So today I have a tutorial for you guys and I'm so excited because it's finally a tutorial using the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. This palette is by far one of the best palettes that I have purchased. I was hesitant on getting it at first because you look at it and it's just so much reds and pinks. Not that that's a bad thing, but it was supposed to be marketed as a everyday palette. After seeing so many great reviews on the palette, I decided, okay, it is time. I'm gonna try this out for myself. And it's so true. I love this palette. I pretty much reach for it every day, basically because it is such a great everyday palette and it's not complicated to use. The only thing I could say is that if you're someone that doesn't like warm tones, this is definitely something that is probably not going to like do it for you. Like you're gonna want to see something with a lot more cool tones. It does have very few cool tone colors in here, but definitely not enough to get that cool tone lover to say that it's definitely like a hit for them. But I'm someone that I love warm tones, so this was perfect. And I had posted on Snapchat that I was gonna film this look for you guys about a week ago or so when I had that whole deal with my eye. If you guys follow me on there, you know what I'm talking about. But basically this is the look that I've been wearing pretty much like as an everyday type of look. This is definitely a type of look that if you are not someone that likes to do winged eyeliner or have a lot of like fuss with the eyes, then this is a really great look for you to probably recreate. I think it's a really good work look, everyday look. You can change the lip color with this look to so many different other colors because it pairs very well with pretty much anything. So without further ado, let's get to the toot.
Okay, so I've already done my eyebrows with the Benefit Cub Brow. By the way, I'm in the shade 04 and I've done one eye. Moving on to the next. I'm going to be priming my eyelid using my MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre like always. I'm using a Luxie large fluff brush to apply this all over my entire eyelid, stamping it on from my inner tear duct all the way across to the base of my top lashes to make sure we have an even application. Then taking the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, so excited, I'm going to be using Burnt Orange, and I deliberately made it a point to use the brush that comes within the palette because this tutorial is supposed to be beginner friendly, everyday look, anyone can do it. So I really wanted to show you guys that you can still utilize the brush within the palette. So I'm using the fluffy side of the brush to apply Burnt Orange on my outer V and just bringing it into my crease. And I'm really making sure to go in upward circular motions and just building on that color. And Burnt Orange is such a great transition crease color. If you like that warm tone in your crease, I think it just really brings out a whole bunch of different eye colors. Especially if you have hazel eyes or green eyes, it's going to be amazing for you. I'm just going to make sure I am just really buffing this out up towards the top of my crease, but not going into my brow bone, just making sure to stay relatively close in the crease area. I'm then taking raw sienna on that same brush and just really focusing this in the crease only, not so much on the outer V. It is more cool tone, so it adds a little bit more depth. Then using the other side of the brush, I'm taking golden ochre and I'm going to be just stamping this on to the inner 2/3 of my lid just to brighten it up and then just buffing it out with the fluffy side once more so there's no harsh edges. Then cleaning off the fluffy side and picking up a little bit of tempera, I'm going to be just kind of dusting this on my inner corner and dusting this just really gently on my brow bone. I didn't want an intense brow bone highlight, so this just brightens it up without it being too intense. I'm then going to be using another brush for this step because I needed one, and I'm using a Luxie 215 small angle brush. I am picking up Cypress Umber and I'm be just doing a wing but with the shadow only. This is what makes this tutorial and this eye look so beginner friendly and perfect for everyday wear because this shade is dark enough to do a liner look with it, but you don't have the fuss or the you don't need the precision to do a liner with like liquid or gel, and it just really elongates the eye and gives you that almond shape. I'm also making sure to stamp this color at the base of my lashes just to darken it up a bit. I do have eyelash extensions on, but I had to reschedule my refill, so they are looking really sparse. So I am applying some false lashes. I'm using Dodo lashes, and the style is in D105. Moving on to the face, I am taking my Maybelline Master Prime, the Blur and Illuminate one that I talked about in my favorites video that I just uploaded on Monday. I am just applying this with my hands, smoothing this all over my entire face. You can already see the sheen that it gives. It's so pretty. Like I said, you could totally wear this on its own if you didn't want to do foundation. It makes your skin look like silk. I'm going to be using my Revlon Color Stay Liquid Foundation. I am in the shade Buff, and I like to use the top of it as like a little palette to work off of while I dot the foundation on my face. I'm going to be blending this out with a damp beauty blender, using the fat side of the beauty blender to just blend this foundation, pressing it into my skin. I love how much yellow this foundation has. As you can tell, because of how much yellow it has, it's really doing a great job of concealing all of that redness that I have on my skin from the rubbing that I was doing with the primer. I'm then going to be concealing with the new Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I'm using the shade Very Light. This isn't the ideal highlight shade that I would like to use. I feel like I could have used one that's a little bit lighter, but this is the lightest color they have, so I'm just making use of it. I've been using it for the past few days, and so far what I really like about it is the way it smells. It has a light sweet scent to it, just to play on that whole coconut infused ingredient that they talk about with these Born This Way products. But so far so good. It is very hydrating, so it doesn't make your under eye look cakey, which I really like. I'm still just giving it a go. I'll give you my full review hopefully sometime soon. I'm going to be blending this out with the pointy end of my damp beauty blender, and just, you can see that it blends out so easily because it is very thin and it's not drying, so it just actually looks like your skin, and it looks really nice. I'm then going to be contouring with the Pixi MultiBalm. This is in the shade Sheer Sculpt. It's a contour shade that came within that new product. I showed you guys these on my Snapchat and on Instagram, so I wanted to show you in this tutorial how to use it and why I liked it so much. You can see it glides on and just slides on the skin so easily. It is very moisturizing, but it's not greasy. So even if you're oily like me, this is still a good product for you to use for cream contouring, and it's very sheer. The only downside is this is the only color they have as a contour shade, so if you're someone that's very deep in skin tone, this probably isn't going to show up as well on you as it would on someone who is a little bit more fairer. So I'm just placing this on the normal parts where I contour, and I'm using a Real Techniques, I believe this is a buffing brush from Real Techniques. I'm just going in upward circular motions, making sure not to drag the cheek contour down because that's going to defeat the whole purpose of it. But I really wanted to show you guys just how easily this blends out, and I love that it's a sheer balm, so it's not very pigmented, meaning that you can't be very heavy-handed with it, which I think that's that's a problem with a lot of people when it comes to cream contouring, is that they apply maybe too much, and it's very hard to blend that out once you have too much product on the skin. But you can see here, it just looks very natural. It just looks like a nice little bronzing contour action going on. So I'm really liking it. I'm then going to be setting the highlighted areas and baking them. I'm using my damp beauty blender to pick up my KatEyed powder and pressing this all onto the highlighted areas of my face. I usually like to do my brows while I'm baking, but since my brows are already done, I'm going to go off camera for a little bit, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the next steps. So after a few minutes, we are back. I am taking a large powder brush, and I'm picking up a good amount of powder and just kind of tapping it off into the cap of the KatEyed powder. And I'm going to be stamping this onto the areas where we didn't bake, because I do still want to set those areas. I was planning to go run errands after filming this tutorial, and it's so hot outside, so I want to make sure my makeup stayed on and looked perfectly fine throughout the day. And to do that, if you have oily skin or you want that extra staying powder, just applying powder all over is great. And since this is translucent-ish, it doesn't cover up any of the contour or highlighting that we have already done. If you are very dry, you do not need to do this at all. I'm then going to be using the new Frankie Rose Pro Contour Palette, and I'm taking a mixture of these two shades right here within the palette. They are very pigmented, but they aren't as light as I would like them to be, so I'm going to do an additional step that I'll show you in a minute, but I'm just pressing this onto my under eye area using my Luxie tapered highlighter brush. It's the number 522, and I'm just pressing this onto my under eye, down the bridge of my nose, and also on the center of my forehead. What I do like about this contour palette though is that that yellow shade is super yellow, so it's a really good highlight shade for those that are a little bit more on the medium skin tones. For me, I need something a little bit more bright, which is why I'm using this Ofra powder. This is their oil control powder, but since I'm picking up a good amount of it on the brush, it does show up almost kind of white as opposed to it being used to just blot. So it does give that nice brightening effect without it being too overpowering on my eyes. So if you can get your hands on a white translucent powder, and I say translucent with quotation marks, this would be really great for highlighting under your eye if you're on the fair side like I am. For bronzer, I'm going to be using my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer with a large stippling brush and applying this to the sides of my face, tip of my nose, and just, you know, bronzing like how I normally do. Going back to the contour kit, I'm using these two shades right here on my Luxie angle brush on the tip of it, and just really focusing this on the most hollow part of my cheek just to deepen it up a little bit and give it more depth and dimension. I'm then going to be using my Morphe MB3 Zero brush to further contour my nose and make sure that it's actually very sharp and visible. I love my nose contour, so I always like to make sure it's a little bit more dramatic. For highlighting, I'm going to show you guys why this was in my favorites video. This is the Maybelline Strobing Stick, so I'm going to show you exactly what it does and how it can boost your powder highlighters to like another level. I'm just using the tip of my fingers to apply this onto all the areas I'm going to place my powder highlighter. I'm using the Anastasia Sweets Glow Kit, which is amazing, by the way. I actually just got this from a friend of mine because it actually came broken, but she got a full refund, got herself another palette they sent her, so she gave me this one, which I was like, girl, I'll take it off your hands because I'm not even mad about it. So I'm applying a mixture of butterscotch and marshmallow with a Bobbi Brown blending brush to the tops of my cheekbones, and then a smaller eyeshadow brush to apply this to my cupid's bow and tip of my nose. Can you guys see that shine? Like, it is incredible. For some reason, I feel like this glow kit is so much better than all her other glow kits. The powders are just so much more brighter, and they feel smoother too. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels that way, but you guys let me know. For blush, I am using my Tarte Blush and Expose with a stippling brush, just applying this onto the apples of my cheek, dusting backwards. After we're done with all the powder products for our face, I'm going to be just setting my brows with the Benefit Gimme Brow. I am in the shade 04, and this will set our brows and also take off any powders that may have fell onto the brows. For the lips, I am using Kylie Cosmetics Dolce K lip liner to outline my lips. We are going to be using a gloss, so this will keep everything in place. And then filling in our lips with the Kylie Cosmetics lip gloss in the shade Like. I love this tone. It's a really good everyday tone. Definitely has that nice mauviness to it. For the eyes, to finish them off, I am taking a Luxie pencil brush and using a mixture of burnt orange and what was that other shade? Let me get it really quick. Raw Sienna. And just brushing that against my bottom lashes before getting a flat definer brush and pressing Cypress under against the base of my bottom lashes. I'm then taking Tempera on that brush that comes within the palette and just highlighting my inner tear duct with this. I love the shade for highlighting. I'm then going to be just applying mascara, which I cannot do on camera, so doing it off. After that, I just sprayed with some setting spray, and this is the completed look. Hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.